Hello.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming. My name is Chris Peterson, as she mentioned. Today, I'm going to be talking about translating into English. I'm the managing director for my company. It was founded in Buffalo, New York, in the United States in 2007. We concentrate on translating into English. Some of our language combinations are Russian to English, Polish to English, Spanish to English, and some other ones. And yeah, I know a lot of you, or at least some of you, translate into English, so what I wanted to do was to introduce the topic. So I'm going to talk for a little while about translating into English and the things that I've found interesting about that. And but what I really want to do is later on have you get into groups, and I think we're going to talk together about how we can make it better, how we can, deliver a more quality product, and also discuss some of the problems that occur when you're trying to produce a good quality English translation. Yeah, I don't speak. My Russian is not very good at all. I don't speak Ukrainian, but I do speak Polish. So I think I understand, some of the issues that we're all going to deal with because it's a Slavic language. So I think when we're going into English, we're going to deal with some similar things. Okay. So I just wanted to briefly show you where I'm from. I'm from this lovely city up here, Buffalo, New York, on Lake Erie, which is here. We're about halfway between New York City and Chicago's over here. Toronto is here. We have Niagara Falls is just up the road, about half an hour. And yeah. Oh, and to go to Canada, we go west, not north. All right. Buffalo, what is it known for? A few things. As they say here, it's an industrial city, yeah. We're known for our sports teams, hockey, football, and we're known for our chicken wings, which you might know. They're known as buffalo wings. Anyone? And they come from Buffalo. And also we're known for snow, but I don't have a picture of snow. All right. So we do quite a bit of revision work in my company, as well as proofreading. And we deal with sometimes it's pretty bad. I wish I could say that it's funny, like you get a bad translation, you think, oh, it must be funny. Well, sometimes, but usually it's just kind of not very much. Okay. So I'm going to show a few examples of some things we have to deal with on a daily basis. All right. Article use. You're probably familiar with this, right? I saw you wave your hand. Yes. There may be people out there who are not native English speakers who can use articles 100% correctly, but if there are, they're very rare indeed. I used to be an English teacher, and I would teach the basics of using articles, right? Okay, there's a number of rules, but I mean, just to teach fairly well, there's 20 rules, right? And then there's more. I mean, it's too complicated to really. It's really difficult to teach, okay? And I guess one of the main things that we do every day is add articles to sentences. Right. A second problem is word order. I imagine Russian, Ukrainian, Polish, you're able to move the grammar, the parts of the sentence around, whereas English is much more structured. So this is the sentence we received. Potato tubers and royal jelly combination is perfect for maintaining fresh skin appearance. Could use a little work. All right. So this is what we did. So I was talking about article use. Right here is where I changed the article. Okay, I added a, because we're talking about the combination. It's a little complicated. Let me look at my notes. Okay. So here, in the second part of the sentence, right. Okay, so what I did was, I actually like what the translator tried to do, because in English we use these of combinations, like, appearance of fresh skin. We do use it. You want to try to avoid it. However, I think that the translator tried to avoid it too much in this case, and I didn't think it read naturally. So I switched it back around, added another article here. Another problem we had was this word tuber. A potato is a tuber. So whatever language it came from, maybe they needed that word, but in English you don't need that word. So I removed it because I just thought it was confusing. So that's what we came up with at the end. And I also thought it's kind of a funny, they're kind of strange ingredients for a skin product, but that's not my field. All right, the next thing I was going to show you is prepositions. Okay, like this on here is the preposition. There's a lot of times that a preposition will follow a verb. You also have to deal with phrasal verbs, which have prepositions and adverbs following them. And yeah, they're quite easy to forget. You may have native language interference, so you might use the one that you're familiar with and not the one that's supposed to be in English. For example, this sentence here, the translator actually didn't have anything here. It just said, agree, draft laws, right? And the second I read that, I stopped and I said, oh, something's wrong here. What do they mean? Oh, okay, agree on. Yeah. Okay. False friends, you're familiar with these? All right, I won't go too much into detail, but actually, you probably run into more of them in, say, French, right? Because our two languages have a lot of, common words. But I know actually is one that throughout a lot of European languages is a problem. In English, actually means like really. It doesn't mean right now. What else? Meaning. Okay. Hold on a second. Yeah, the one thing that we do a lot of is just, meaning. And sometimes we're not, if we are doing, say, a proofreading where we don't know the source language, sometimes it's not even possible for us to do this at all, because we may not understand. I'm going to give a few examples of some problems we had, and for different reasons, the meaning was difficult. Oh yeah, okay. Another facility for manufacturing 8 million cans of tomato crash per year will be built. So we're like, what's tomato crash, right? This was actually from Russian. We had the original. It was really crushed tomatoes that go in a can, yeah? So, we think about a car crashing, right? And it's, yeah. They just took the sound. Yeah. What else? Moreover, the 6 small bulls burned on fire, disappeared mysteriously. Now, burned on fire is a little redundant because, yeah. And the whole sentence itself is a little, I don't know what that was about. Okay, this one's kind of interesting. Close enough to use the same toothpick. The teams made sales together on the site all day long. Now the English is fine. There's no problem with the English. But when my team read this, we all thought it was pretty funny. We started, talking about it. I work with a Canadian, a Brit, and another American, and we all read it and we all said, "Oh, what's this? This is kind of disgusting." Apparently, it's an idiom in the source language, and it makes a lot of sense to them. However, to us, I wouldn't use this. Even though the translation's fine, I would definitely try to think of an alternative because I wouldn't want to read about that. All right. So that's basically the extent of me talking. Because what I'd like to do is get you all to engage with each other. I know you have experience from working in Ukraine, which I don't know very much about. I'd be interested to find out. Yeah. We are going to get into small groups of maybe, probably 8 people each. That would probably 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 5 or 6 groups. That should be good. And we're going to have a small discussion. But before we do that, I have a quick survey. So can you just raise your hand if you're a translator? Can you raise your hand? That's a lot of translators. Okay. Big surprise, right? Art of translation. How many of you hire translators? So you work for an agency, you hire translators. There's a few of you out there? Okay. How many of you work into English regularly or at all? So a few of you. A good number, actually. Okay, about half, maybe. All right, cool. All right. So now I'd like to do the breakout session. So I'd like you to get into groups. It's probably easiest just to do 2 rows of people, I think. So if you could turn around and work with them, you could turn around and work with them. This group here, maybe everybody in the back over there. I think we have a good amount of time. Now I'm going to need one person to be the reporter, okay? So somebody's going to have to take notes for the group, and somebody's going to have to present their findings afterwards, all right? So choose somebody. All right. I'm going to put up the questions now. First of all, do y'all know each other yet? A little bit? We already did I know we just did the networking thing today, so just just briefly introduce yourself to everybody and talk about whether you work into English or not. All right? Then, when translating into English, do you think, in your opinion, is a native English speaker always required? If yes, why? If no, under what circumstances can we skip using a native speaker? Is a non-native translator and a native English bilingual reviser a good solution? Let's say, and this is the part where I wanted to think about the business side of things, right? Because I know in this region, not just Ukraine, but the entire region, the budgets are what they are, right? And native speakers, they want to make a lot of money. So what if your client is willing to pay you, whatever, X cents. You go to the translator, he wants X cents as well, the exact same amount. How are you going to get this project done? And finally, about quality, how do you know that you or your resources are good enough? How do you know you're doing the job correctly? How do you know the translation is being done well into English? All right, that's all from me. So please, in your groups, I'd like you to talk about these different questions, go through the list, and then how much time do we have?
Yeah, we have time.
Like about 15 minutes?
Yeah.
So we'll give you about 10 minutes, let's say, more or less, okay? So go ahead. Okay. Is everyone almost ready? Yeah? Good? Good? You almost ready? Almost ready? Okay, I think we can stop now. You haven't discussed anything? You were so busy having coffee, you know?
Should have been done before, right?
Sorry, man. Yeah, you can send me your answers by email.
Before Christmas, right?
Absolutely. Okay, yeah, I'm sorry, but the coffee break ran a little long, so we have to hurry up a little bit. Let's talk about the first point I have up here. Do we always need a native speaker? Yes? No? Why? What do you think?
Thank you. Yes, in my opinion, review by a native speaker is really a good idea because when a non-native speaker translates into English, he or she cannot know everything that will be strange or even unusual for a native speaker. That's why I vote con for a real native speaker.
Thank you. Anyone else have a different idea?
Yeah, we have a microphone. Okay, so no, not really. We don't need a native speaker.
Why?
No, we need not at all. We need a native speaker if this translation or this text has to be published somewhere in an English-speaking country. Then or is an official text for some officials in English-speaking country that have to receive the text as a high-quality text, and maybe we want to make it as the best, so that it might be really a text that is written by English, like a native, if it is written by an Englishman, if it is for sure a translation. But if it is just for somebody, I don't know for whom, or just to translate some information, just to have a translation in the office of this some documents, and we don't need really an English speaking or a native speaker because we don't need that high quality.
Okay, thank you.
It's like an idea.
I think it's a good one. Ready?
And we wanted to add that the native speaker should be a translator too, not just somebody off the street who would provide some quality of something, maybe a translation and maybe something in his opinion.
Okay, cool. Anybody else?
So, the first question, when translating into English, is a native speaker always required? No. Under what circumstances can we skip using a native speaker? First, non-native version is absolutely okay for clients. Why not? So second, if there is an editor who is a native speaker, then you can just have a non-native speaker translate the file, and then you have this editor who will edit the version. Well, how can you tell that you or your resources are good enough? You just need to run an independent assessment procedure and with your clients after the translation is ready, for example, and you can just see the quality. Well, that's all.
So in our practice as a Ukrainian translation agency, there is quite a rare case when the Ukrainian or Russian customer requires a translation of a native speaker because of limited budget, first of all. But when we see if the type of content or the reach of this content could require the translation of a native speaker, we can offer several opportunities, several types of translation. It could be first, the cheapest one, the translation of Ukrainian or Russian translator. Second, the translation by native speaker. Then the translation by native speaker with a further review by Ukrainian translator, or backwards, first the translation of Ukrainian or Russian translator and the review by the native speaker. And by these several options, we can also vary the price of the translation. So the customer can select the best quality and price combination. So that's it.
Thank you. That's very interesting. Yeah, I think we're out of time. Yeah, unfortunately, we're out of time. I'd like to continue. If anyone wants to talk to me about this afterwards, I'd be glad to discuss it. I deal with this every day, so I think I have a little bit of perspective on it. Anyway, thank you very much for attending, and I hope to see all of you later, and I can't wait for the gala dinner.